With January fast approaching, it's going to be a key window for Boro if they are able to strengthen in them important areas and take them into that next step, which is hopefully securing and fighting for a place in the playoffs. So today, I'm going to run through the Boro team, each position individually, and talk about where I think Boro need to make signings this January.
As the Uruguayan curls one in. Take the lead!
So, starting off in goal, we've got a graphic up on screen here which I'll run through as we go, and basically throughout this graphic, we're going to highlight the players who will start, mostly in each position, their backups, so places that have depth, and also areas where other players can slot in there if needed. We've also got players who are injured and are out for the season, and then each slot, each position, without the players individually, I'm going to mark green if I'm happy in that position, yellow if it could improve, and red if I think we need signings. So starting off, at the back, between the sticks, with the goalkeeper. So, for me, it's a pretty simple one in goal. It's a green for me. I don't think Boro need any signings there. We've got Seny Dieng as our starting goalkeeper. Of course, he will be off for the AFCON over the next month, but for me, he's been an upgrade on Zach Steffen, and he's my favourite signing of the summer so far. I adore Seny Dieng, and I think he's been fantastic. He fits our style of play. He's a safe pair of hands between the sticks, and he's very good with his feet. So I'm more than happy in that position. And from what I've seen as well, Glover's a more than capable second, and I think will keep us absolutely fine over the AFCON period, with Jamie Jones in there as a third choice as well. So for me, goalkeeper, absolutely fine. At left back, I'm fine there too. I think Boro have got a pair of left backs who are absolutely outstanding. I've got Engel as the starter there at the moment, but for me, Bangura is literally level with Engel in that position. We've got two equally real quality left backs who are getting forward. They're good defensively, but they're also very good going forward down the left. They stretch the pitch. They're very good in the attacking third, and quite creative as well. I would stick Engel ahead of Bangura for now, but even then, Coulson is our third best choice, who did start the season in that position, and Lewis O'Brien can also play there if possible. So yeah, for me, left back, absolutely fine. Centre back, so I'm going to start on the left hand side. I know a lot of our centre backs can probably play in both left and right, but I have gone with yellow here. We could improve on the left hand side. Usually, of course, Darragh Lenihan would play alongside Dale Fry in that position, but of course Lenihan is out for the season. If he wasn't, I'd be absolutely fine in that position, because then you'd have Clark as a potential backup, and then Paddy McNair as well, who is a backup in the centre of defence. He can play there, of course, but with Lenihan out injured, we are a little bit short at centre-back, and if we get injuries at full-back, some of our centre-backs have to be pulled out into that position as well. So if something was to happen to Clark, obviously McNair's out at the moment, we suddenly are really, really light in that position. We have been linked with a couple of defenders from Nottingham Forest. Scott McKenna and Joe Worrell have been linked, so I expect one of them two to come in. So I do think Boro will make a signing in the centre of defence just to plug the gap left by the injured Darragh Lenihan in the centre of defence. I wouldn't say we're absolutely desperate for it, but it looks like we're going to fill that position, and I'm more than happy for us to do so. On the other side, I have gone green on the right-hand side. I think we're okay there, to be honest. I know McNair, Vandenberg, the backups there are injured at the moment, but I think when brought back to full fitness, I think we've got more than enough depth. On the other side, Dale Fry, of course, is the starter there, but for me, Rav Vandenberg is pushing to start in both centre-back positions, so he's a more than good enough backup, as is Paddy McNair, of course, out with a back injury. So for me, we just need one centre-back, probably to replace Lenihan on the left. The right, I'm absolutely fine with. Moving on to right back. Now, this is a position where I feel like we need some signings. It's partly down to injuries, but it's also partly down to the quality. Dijksteel's the starting right back at the moment, and I'm just not convinced that he's quite good enough to be the starter for the Boro team heading towards, hopefully, the playoffs. I feel like he's a very good player who can come on if needed, if we need something different, if we need something specific from a fullback, but I'm not 100% convinced He's quite good enough to start in that position. He will be displaced if Smith was fit, and we've seen Vandenberg and McNair can play there as well when needed this season. But we've had a bit of an injury crisis at right back, especially at the start of the season. We've seen what it's like to have Smith and Dijksteel out, and we were relying on Rav and McNair. But if they then have to be dragged into centre defence, as I mentioned, right back is then suddenly probably one of the lightest areas on the pitch. So for me, I would feel very comfortable, and would feel a lot more comfortable if we did sign a right back. So I would love to see someone come in to challenge Dijksteel, maybe improve in that position. And then the likes of Dijksteel can be backup, Rav and McNair can be backup too, but we don't have to worry about depth in that position if we have an injury crisis at centre back, because we'll have more depth there. So I would like us to improve on the right hand side. Over on the left, I'm happy. We've got so many players in the attacking positions who can interchange and move around. So on both the left and right hand side, I'm more than happy. Boro have signed quite well in terms of players who can play in multiple positions and rotate. So McGree would be the starter for me every day of the week. Obviously, he's off to the Asia Cup, but is back to full fitness now. And in behind him, Greenwood, we've seen him play there. Rogers and Silvera too. Gilbert can play there. You could even stick Isaiah on the left-hand side if needed. So for me, yeah, I think you can always strengthen your attacking areas with more quality, but I just don't think we have got the space to do it now because we simply have to prioritise other areas. So I'm happy with the left-hand side for now. Into centre midfield, it's a bit like the centre-back pairing. On the left-hand side, I have gone with could improve. I feel like just another body in midfield would be useful. At the moment, Howson is playing pretty well there, to be fair. Of course, he's playing very regularly for his age, which usually would be a concern, but Johnny Howson seems to just defy age and everything that comes with it. But yeah, depth there's not too bad. I think we'd look a bit light at the moment because Hackney's been out, and of course O'Brien's out too. If O'Brien comes in, he might become the first choice starter alongside Hackney. So I would very much like him to be back, but as we know, McNair's naturally a midfielder as well. But we are a bit light in that area. As you can see, if we lose O'Brien and McNair maybe has to slot into defence, you've only got Barlasser to come across to that side, and suddenly we're very light. If we were to lose Barlasser or Howson at the moment, with Hackney out too, we're then having to bring Crooks back into midfield, which I'm not a fan of with how we play. So I think, albeit it's not urgent when everyone is fully fit, I would just feel a little bit more comfortable if we had another body in midfield. On the other side, I've gone green though. I think we just need the one body, which could replace Johnny Howson. I think if fully fit on the right-hand side, you've got the choice of probably Hackney or Barlasser, to be honest. I don't quite feel as comfortable with Hackney playing alongside Barlasser. That's why I'd rather it be Hackney or Barlasser on the right, Howson or O'Brien on the left. But fully fit for me, Hackney will start there every single day of the week, and Barlasser has proven over the last few weeks that he's more than good enough as a backup. So yeah, I'm more than comfortable on the right-hand side. In midfield, we just need another body on the left. Moving on to the right-hand side, as I mentioned, exactly like with our left-hand side, we've got plenty of players who can come in and interchange in that position. Obviously, if Marcus Forss was fully fit, I'd definitely have him in on the right-hand side. He's not only a threat on the right, but he also scores so many goals as well, and I think's been a big miss. Isaiah Jones, of course, has been playing there quite regularly. Isn't convincing me, I'll be honest, Isaiah Jones. I feel like he's just not good enough, often enough, in this Boro side, and is not consistent enough. So, as much as I would, on another day, if Forss wasn't available or was out for the season, I probably would want another body on the right, a bit more quality. I think if Forss is fully fit, he's more than good enough, because you've got Silvera in there, Rogers and Greenwood too, but if they're playing on the left, you may be then a bit light on the right. It's one of them, but yeah, as it stands, a fully fit right-hand side with Marcus Forss is more than good enough for me. And moving into the two positions which I feel are desperately in need of added quality. They were the two positions where we lost the most quality last season when we lost Akpom and Archer, and that is firstly in behind the striker at number 10. Of course, Matt Crooks is in there at the moment. Now, don't get me wrong, Crooks has done an incredible job for Boro this season. He's been outstanding for the most part, but we've seen what we can have if we have a goal scorer in there, and Chuba Akpom set the bar so high last season with his 29 goals. I think we maybe expect something along them lines again. I mean, we're not going to get another Chuba Akpom, but I do think we need to strengthen in that position. Once again, You've got players in behind Crooks who can play on either side, but if they're needed on the left or the right, we're looking very light at 10. If Crooks is injured, Greenwood could play there. Hasn't convinced me. I think Rodgers is maybe the better choice in that centre attacking midfield role. Gilbert could play there too, but yeah, maybe we just need a little bit more agility, maybe a few more goals from that position. So for me, I definitely feel like if we can invest in a number 10 and if we have the space to do it, I definitely would love a little bit more quality there just to help us in the goal scoring department. And finally, up front, which is the biggest position where we have to fill in January, because essentially it was the place where we clearly missed in the summer. We filled most areas pretty well in the summer transfer window, but it was obvious that we tried to get a signing in up front at the end of the window and we failed. And for whatever reason, that led to us obviously keeping Josh Coburn. He was scheduled to go out on loan to Plymouth, and I've said since the start of the season, I just could not foresee us relying on Latilath and Coburn to get us the goals we needed. And you can tell by the stats, Boro are one of the biggest chance creators in the league, but we're one of the biggest big chance misses teams in the league as well. We are underperforming our XG quite badly, and if we'd have converted the chances we've created across the season, we'd have scored a lot more goals and we'd have won a lot more games. So the biggest area for improvement for me is definitely up front. And it's not taking anything away from what Lath and Coburn have done. I think they've both done really, really well, given the fact, for me, neither are probably good enough to start for this Boro side week in, week out. And I'm not even sure Lath's a striker, if I'm honest. I don't quite know what he is. He's a bit of an enigma. He just causes chaos and scores a worldy one week and misses 3 sitters the next. But yeah, he just doesn't quite have the consistency and isn't prolific enough, I think, to carry a championship side to the playoffs. I think both him and Coburn, more than happy for them to contribute and keep, coming on and scoring goals that way, but you can't quite hang your hat on the pair of them for me to be that 20-goal season goal scorer that I think you need if you want to get promoted. We had Archer last season, someone who proved he had a killer instinct in front of goal, and whenever he was put through, you knew it was a goal. Don't have the same feeling here with Lath and Coburn, and I think we could then maybe use this as a chance for Coburn to go out on loan, because I still feel like it's a little early in his development to be putting this much pressure on him to carry this Boro side. So I think then it opens the door up for him to go out on loan, which I think would benefit him a lot more. I guess in behind you've got Greenwood, who I don't think has flattered to deceive in that position. Neither has Crooks or Rodgers. I think Force would be a good forward. I think he'd be fantastic up front, but Characters doesn't seem to want to play him there. So I'm going to concede that Force is probably going to only play on the right if fit. So yeah, for me, out of all the areas in this Boro side that need signings, we desperately need a quality, prolific number 9, and I dare say probably a loan from the Premier League. So guys, there is the team, the squad depth and the positions I feel we could improve on. Now, I don't think we'll improve on all of these. I think we'll get a centre back in who can maybe play at right back. Midfield will stay as is, I think. But I do think we will definitely bring in a couple of forwards. I think we'll try and stick with the current Boro strategy of signing permanent players, but it's so hard to do that in January with players not being as available and clubs being as reluctant to sell. So as much as Boro will want to stick and stand by the fact they want to sign more permanent players now, I think it's a perfect chance for us to use the loan market. And we all saw last season, Ramsey, Archer just elevated Boro to a different level and essentially carried us, or helped carry us, to the playoffs in the end. And we went on that mad run where we nearly caught Sheffield United. So as much as Boro will want to stay with permanence, I think we've got to make the most of the loan market. And I dare say maybe we'll bring in one permanent, maybe 2 or 3 loans, something like that. We don't want to rely on loans, and I don't think we will, because I think we've invested very well so far in the summer with the potential of this squad. But yeah, just to add that bit of extra quality that you need, we've got to loan these players in. We can't afford to buy a 25-goal-a-season striker in January. They'll cost you at least 15 million, and Boro don't have the money to do that. So I'm looking forward to seeing how we do, who we invest in, and I'd like to hope that it's going to go smoothly. Kieran Scott did say in an interview a few weeks back that we've already got all the plans in place, And like last January, I'm hoping things will just click into gear come January the 1st. You know, I think Cameron Archer come in straight away. You know, that move was lined up and ready to go as soon as we hit January 1st. So I'm hoping we've already got a number of players lined up and we can just get them in and just crack on. You know, I don't want us scrambling around mid-January, late January trying to find players. I think for this window specifically, you've got to be prepared. And I'd like to think by what we've heard, Boro will be prepared to bring in some good players and hopefully propel us into the playoffs. But that's it, guys. That's my thoughts on who I think Boro should sign and where we should strengthen in January. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll be very eager to hear from all you Boro fans on who you think we should sign and what positions you'd like to strengthen, and if you've got any names specifically of players you would like us to bring in. But until next time, guys, if you've enjoyed this video, do hit the like button and subscribe. If you haven't already, I do review every single Boro game here on the channel. So, yeah, if you like Boro content, this is the place to be. But until next time, guys, do take care. A big thank you for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.